Now we're going to look at Chapter 1, page 30, Example C. Again, the first step is to determine our key signature. We have two sharps, F sharp and C sharp, which indicate we are either in D major or the key of B minor. Again, we look for our clues. The clues tell us we are in D major. The right hand starts on D and ends on D, and the left hand starts on D, A. So I'll write my key signature. Next, we need to determine the notes in each of the chords, the 1 chord and the 5 chord that we'll be selecting from. So the notes on the 1 chord on D major are D, F sharp, and A. And the notes on the 5 chord in D major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is A, C sharp, and E. Next, I'm going to write in the letters, the notes, names for the right hand. We have D, E, F sharp, G, A, G, F sharp, D, F sharp, E, D. And now I'm going to determine the common tones for each of the chords. So let's take a look at the first measure. We have D, E, and F sharp. D is common in just the 1 chord, E is common in the 5 chord, and F sharp is common in the 1 chord. So we have 2 notes common in the 1 chord, 1 for the 5 chord. Therefore, I will select the 1 chord. And of course, that has been given to us already. Next measure, we have F sharp, G, and A. F sharp is common to the 1 chord. A is also common to the 1 chord, but it's also common to the 5 chord. And G is common to neither chord. So I'll select another 1 chord. Next measure, I have an A, which is common to both chords, G, which is common to none, F sharp and D, which are both common to the 1 chord as well. So it seems like 1 chord will work here as well. And in the final measure, I have F sharp, E, and D, which is the reverse of the first measure. Again, 1 chord makes a lot of sense here. And just to get you a sense of how this would sound, okay, with just the 1 chords. It definitely works, but it's a little boring. So let's look for an opportunity to change the chords. Okay, if we take a look at the third measure that starts on an A, even though there are more notes common to the 1 chord than the 5 chord, we could actually make the decision, in order to keep, in the interest of keeping things interesting, we could choose to change that to a 5 chord. After all, the A is common with the 5 chord. It would mean that the F sharp and D are non-chord tones. Okay. Now G actually happens to be the 7th of a 5/7 chord, so technically it is a chord tone, or could be heard as a chord tone. If we play it like this, it's going to sound a little bit more interesting. Definitely more interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep it that way. In the future, you're going to have a lot more liberty, especially when you're including more than just the 1, 5, and 5 chords. I'll go ahead and erase my notes here, and we're going to go ahead and write in the lead sheet symbols. All right, so the 1 chord in D major, the lead sheet symbol will just be D. Same thing here, same thing in the last measure. The 5 chord is going to be an A major chord. Next, let's notate the notes of the left hand. So, second measure is a 1 chord. That's also going to be DA. I can go ahead and do that for the final measure as well, since it's the same. That looks a little bit more like an E. And for the 5 chord, I'm going to have the notes A and E. And I can try playing the left hand now. So I start on DA. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, shift down to A. 1, 2, shift back up to D. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so get comfortable with that. Next, we're going to determine the finger numbers for the right hand. So again, I'm looking at parameters of notes. My lowest note is a D, so I'll put my thumb there. My highest note is an A, so I'll use fifth finger there. And I'll fill in the rest. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1. Let's try playing the right hand now. The right hand is in D major position, third finger's on F sharp. 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we can put hands together. Again, we can follow the same procedure. Downbeat to downbeat, one measure at a time, then pairs of measures, then the whole thing. In this case, I'm just going to play the whole thing as an example. 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, shift down. 1, 2, shift back up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you have it. Another harmonization example done.